Devil Jin.
Devil Jin was widely considered one of the best characters in Season 1 and Season 2. Despite considerable nerfs to both his Hell Sweep in Season 2 and his Up Forward 4 in Season 3, he still remains an extremely solid and complete character. He is incredibly rooted in fundamentals while excelling in punishment. Among the three Mishimas, Devil Jin is by far the easiest to learn and also the most well-rounded of the bunch. He may not have the amazing Okizeme and 50-50 that Kazuya does, but he has a much more lenient execution curve while having better generics. And while he might not have the pressure tools that Heihachi has, he has significantly better lows, giving him better mix-ups. Unsurprisingly, being a Mishima, Devil Jin requires high execution and good fundamentals to play well, but once in the right hands, is incredibly dangerous. At 10 frames, Devil Jin has 3 options. He has 1-1-2, 1-2-2, and 2-2. 1-1-2 is a high mid knockdown string. The first 2 hits, 1-1, jail, meaning the opponent cannot duck between the 2 hits. The third hit is hit confirmable, even to maximum delay, and being a mid, will also catch opponents ducking. Try not to let the string rip unless used as a punish though, as it is very unsafe both on block and whiff. The slump knockdown gives you great Okizeme and helps to start a wave dash mix-up, making this one of the best punishes in the game due to its knockdown, hit confirmability, high damage, and solid Okizeme. 1-2-2 is a triple high string that doesn't knock down, but in return deals slightly more damage and gives you 4 frames of advantage on hit, offering you a standing mix-up instead. This typically isn't preferred over 1-1-2, as the knockdown and Okizeme is usually better in most cases. But regardless, this might still be a bit helpful if you need the extra damage or specifically 1 frame advantage instead to keep taking your turn. 2-2 is the highest damage 10 frame punish. This leaves Devil Jin at a slight frame disadvantage even on hit, so this usually isn't used unless the extra damage is really needed, potentially to close out rounds. This can also be used as an ender in certain combos, as it leaves the opponent closed for Okizeme or for short wall carry. At 12 frames, Devil Jin has his back 1-2. This is a high damage, high mid string that knocks down and wall splats. The string can also be cancelled by doing back 1-2 back, which will cancel the second hit. Even though doing this will leave you at -18, most people will not punish you for it in fear of the second hit, since it is uninterruptible, so this may be useful for some mental frame advantage occasionally. For 13 frames, Devil Jin has his down forward 4-4. This is a double mid string that doesn't knock down or give any frame advantage, but is his fastest mid punish and forces crouch on hit instead. This isn't usually used over back 1-2 most of the time, since it doesn't do as much damage or knockdown. So this is mainly used when you specifically need a mid punish for moves that either recover in crouch or evade highs, where back 1-2 or the electric cannot hit. This move is also ever so slightly delayable and hit confirmable if you have the reflexes, but do note that it is incredibly difficult to do so. Devil Jin being a Mishima, he gains access to the Electric Wind God Fist. This is a 14 frame high launcher that leads to some of his highest combo damage and can even be used as a combo ender for some amazing Okizeme. This is also +5 on block with huge pushback, making this both a great pressure tool and space control tool. Due to the executional demands of this move, you will unlikely be using this to punish -14 or even -15 moves, especially since Devil Jin, unlike the two Mishimas, has an easy 15 frame launcher, so he isn't necessarily as reliant on the EWGF to block punish launch punishable moves. However, this will still be your main launcher to punish big whiffs due to its fairly big range and speed. It is also incredibly hard to whiff punish due to its fast recovery speed and tracks incredibly well and can only be evaded by an extremely well-timed sidestep left. If you have difficulty performing this move, the main man Sui has an incredible EWGF guide going over the execution and application of this move, and he explains it way better than I do, so I highly recommend you check that video out to learn more about this move. Devil Jin, unlike the other Mishimas, has an easy 15 frame mid launcher in his can down 3+4. This is mainly useful when you need to punish something that is launch punishable and aren't confident in your EWGF execution. though do note that the combo you get is nowhere near as rewarding as the EWGF combo. The first hit has fairly short range, and on block this is launch punishable at -15, and can also be evaded with a sidewalk to the left, so this isn't a move that you'll ever use outside of punishment. Finally, for standing punishment, at 16 frames he has his forward 3+4. This is a long-range double kick that is primarily used to punish moves that have large pushback on block like Heihachi's Demon Uppercut or Noctis's Engine Blade, making Devil Jin one of the few characters that can fairly consistently punish large pushback moves, even if it isn't super rewarding. Do be careful at which range you use this move at though, as on whiff and block, this move is incredibly punishable. For while standing punishment, Devil Jin has one of the best 11 frame punishes in the game with his while standing 4. Its frames are above average for a while standing 4, being only -3 on block and giving +8 on hit, making a follow-up back 4 uninterruptible and unsteppable, making this good for setting up frame traps. Outside of punishment, this move is also one of Devil Jin's primary mid pokes, since it can be performed out of a crouch dash by doing forward, neutral, down, down forward, then neutral 4, allowing this to have fairly huge range due to the distance the crouch dash covers. This also makes this one of his low risk mid options out of a wave dash. The full punish, while standing 4-4, does significantly more damage and forces crouch, though it is -4 on hit, making this generally a worse option if you want to keep taking your turn. It is also launch punishable on block, so this can't really be used outside of punishment, unlike just using the first hit by itself. At 13 frames, Devil Jin has two options, while standing 1-2 and while standing 1-4. While standing 1-2 is a double mid string that gives 4 frames of advantage on hit. This move is not used often and mostly used only in combos, though even then its use case is quite rare. While standing 1-4 is generally the preferred punish as it does more damage, knocks down, and even wall splats. This is one of the stronger 13 frame while standing punishes that doesn't launch, since it is fairly rewarding, as it is quite rare to get a high damage knockdown punish at -13. Outside of punishment, the second hit is a high, and this will also screw an opponent if you catch them out of mid-air. Finally, at 15 frames, Devil Jin has his while standing 2 as his while standing launcher. This is a mid that leads to an immediate screw on hit. As a 15 frame launch punisher, this isn't really anything exceptional, though its biggest trait is that it's one of the few moves that Devil Jin has that tracks towards sidestep left. Being a while standing move, it can also be performed out of a wave dash, meaning that if you make a hard read on your opponent, predicting that they will try to beat the wave dash mix-up either by ducking or stepping left, this move will catch them and grant you a full combo. Devil Jin's most infamous move in Tekken 7 is by far his Hell Sweep. This is a fast, unseeable low sweep that launches on normal hit. While the combo damage is low, the wall carry and potential Okizeme more than makes up for it. Do note though that you can only get a full combo if the Hell Sweep hits close enough. If it hits shallow, you can only get a guaranteed dash up back 4 or a crouch dash 3, the latter of which will actually launch them if they attempt to stand up immediately. If done at the wall, you get 2 guaranteed back 4s or a back 4 into down 1 for slightly more damage but worse Okizeme. This move alone is what makes Devil Jin's 50-50 mix-up so scary, since it is rare to find a fast low that launches on normal hit. Beware not to get too trigger happy with this move though, as it is incredibly punishable on block, and can also be evaded by a sidewalk to the left. This move also has a second hit by doing crouch dash 4-4 instead, though this is rarely used. Forward 4-2 is one of Devil Jin's key mids. This is a fast, safe on block mid with decent range and also has decent pushback on block, making this a great space control tool. Since this is a forward move, it means it can also be performed out of a wave dash, which is especially important as it is one of the few moves out of his wave dash that will occasionally beat sidestep left, though do note that it can still be sidewalked anyway. As a bonus, this move also knocks down for additional Okizeme and wall splats at the wall. This is an incredibly well-rounded move, though do note that it is quite slow to recover on whiff and can also be very easily stepped to the right. Devil Jin has an above average generic down forward 1. It's fast at 13 frames and gives huge frame advantage on hit at +8. For a quick mid poke, this is incredibly good, since most down forward 1s aren't as blessed to get that much frame advantage on hit. A common frame trap is to do down forward 1 on hit into a back 4, since it becomes both uninterruptible and unsteppable. Unsurprisingly, this can be stepped to the left, and can even be sidewalked both ways, though it does recover quite quickly on whiff. This also has a safe, delayable mid-extension in down forward 1-2. Though this isn't a natural combo, is significantly more negative on block and is much less plus on hit. This is only really good to catch opponents off guard at the end of rounds, or if you anticipate that they might try to challenge you after blocking your down forward 1. Up forward 4 is one of Devil Jin's primary mids. In Season 1 and 2, this used to knock down and give a guaranteed back 4 follow-up. In Season 3, you no longer get the back 4 due to the increased distance on hit. While this is still a very strong mid, it is not quite as essential as before. This move is fast, low crushes during its animation, and is also barely safe on block. After the knockdown, it allows Devil Jin to begin his wave dash mix-up, helping him build momentum. If your opponent has their right to the wall, you can even pick them up with 1+4 for a full combo. While this is a decent all-round move, it is incredibly linear and can be stepped very easily to both directions. Due to forward 2 being a better option most of the time, this can be mainly used at a sidewall situation, or specifically if you want a low crushing move. If your opponent tries to stand up immediately or do a mid get-up kick, you can get a guaranteed dash up EWGF. If they attempt to tech roll, you can get a down 3. If they choose to stay on the ground or do a low get-up kick, you can do a back 4 instead. These make the Okizeme options for up forward 4 incredibly strong. Devil Jin has 2 primary counter hit launchers in his down forward 2 and back 4. Back 4 is an incredibly versatile move. It is a relatively safe, fast mid that does good damage and is also a staple wall combo ender. It also hits grounded opponents, making this an excellent Okizeme tool. And as a bonus, this launches on counter hit. Thus, this is also a great option to beat get-up kicks. This even has surprisingly good tracking, being able to beat sidesteps to either direction, though it can still be evaded by a sidewalk to either side, and it is also a little slow to recover on whiff. Down forward 2 is faster than back 4, and also launches on counter hit. However, it doesn't do as much damage, and is also incredibly linear. Where this move is useful is actually more often if you mess up an EWGF input, as this move is fairly low risk due to it being safe and fast to recover on whiff, while still giving big reward on counter hit, making this still a viable keep out tool, even if you did not intend to do it. Devil Jin's primary tool to dissuade steppers comes in the form of back forward 2-1, also known as Laser Scraper. This is a fast, delayable double mid string that tracks to both sides. This move is ever so slightly unsafe at -10 on block. Thus, most Devil Jin players only do the first hit to keep opponents in check. This also has extensions in the form of back forward 2-1-2 and back forward 2-1 down forward 2. The former is a safe, delayable knockdown wall splatting mid that is basically the same as his forward 2. This will also catch people who try to punish the first 2 hits unless it is delayed, in which case it can be interrupted. This also happens to be one of Devil Jin's staple wall combos. It can also be very easily stepped to the right, so try not to be too predictable in finishing the string. Forward 4 is another move used to dissuade steppers. This is a homing plus on block high that does huge damage and wall splats. Due to this being a forward move, this can also be performed out of a wave dash, making this a pretty decent option from the wave dash mix-up. Do note though that this is a high, so it can be ducked and punished if predicted. Up 4 is Devil Jin's Lightning Screw. This is his primary evasive panic move that crushes both highs and lows during its animation, and also leads to a full combo if you commit to the fly stance by holding up. While this is very evasive and fairly rewarding, this also poses a risk, as it is quite punishable on block, regardless if you commit to the fly stance or not. Devil Jin's only wall bounce move comes in the form of his forward 1+2. This is a double mid string that knocks down on open ground and at the wall causes massive damage due to the wall bounce. This also happens to be a homing move, making it completely unsteppable. This move is cancelable by doing forward 1+2 back, though similar to his back 1, if the opponent predicts the cancel, you'll be left very vulnerable. Devil Jin is fairly lacking in plus frame moves, making him not one to be particularly suited for an aggressive playstyle. However, he still does have a few of note to pressure the opponent. Up forward 3 is a low crushing mid that on block forces the opponent to crouch, as well as giving 3 frames of advantage. Its force crouch property is particularly useful if Devil Jin is on player 1 side, as this means the opponent cannot sidestep left, which is his weak side. On hit, its properties remain the same, though it now gives significantly more frame advantage. On counter hit, this now gives a full combo. While this move sounds amazing, it is balanced out by its extremely slow speed, linearity, and extremely slow recovery on whiff. Devil Jin's running 3 is pretty standard compared to other generic running 3s. It is a slow, low crushing mid that on block gives massive frame advantage at +9 and knocks down on hit. Devil Jin can also perform this move by doing a crouch dash up forward 3, a trait only shared among Mishimas, making the executional demands of this move much lower if you cannot do instant while running. This also tracks surprisingly well to sidestep left, though it can still be sidewalked and is also extremely weak to sidestep right. Devil Jin has 2 power crushes. Down 1 is a fairly average mid power crush. It has okay speed, decent range, and knocks down on normal hit. If the opponent doesn't do a back roll, you get a guaranteed dash up back 4 as well. This move tracks slightly to sidestep right, though that isn't really important, since it can still be evaded with a simple sidestep left, which is the primary way to step Devil Jin anyways. It is also quite risky, as it is -14 on block. Back 1+3 or back 2+4 is Devil Jin's reversal. This is a parry that will absorb damage taken from mid and high attacks, and do damage back to the opponent. This has to be timed, as it will not do anything if nothing is reversed, and being a power crush, it is also vulnerable to lows. Aside from his hell sweep, Devil Jin also has some other lows of note. Down back 2 is a plus on hit low that is a little slow, but it does high crush and beat sidestep left. On normal and counter hit, it forces crouch, as well as giving 3 frames of advantage. On block, this is -13 and can also be beaten by sidestep right. Down 3 is a low poke that tracks incredibly well to both sides, and is also relatively safe at only -12, making this very low risk to use against most of the cast. The only main downside to this move are that it isn't particularly fast and it does not high crush. Devil Jin's generic down 4 is not particularly special to other down 4s. It does low damage, is very fast, and also high crushes. However, his mainly stands out due to its range, thanks to Devil Jin's longer legs compared to the rest of the cast, making this a particularly good move to close out rounds. Devil Jin is complete with a full set of command throws for every break. He has quarter circle back 1+3 for a 1 break, down forward 2+3 for a 2 break, stone head, which is a 1+2 break, as well as being a wall splatting throw, and forward half circle forward 1+2. Which is also a 1+2 break and is his highest damage command throw. Finally, the last 2 key moves worth mentioning are his Rage Art and Rage Drive. Devil Jin's Rage Art is mostly unexceptional. It is a mid that is wildly unsafe on block and does huge damage on hit. Where it stands out slightly is in its low crushing properties, making this one of the more evasive Rage Arts among the roster. Devil Jin's Rage Drive, on the other hand, is one of the more lackluster ones. It is an extension of his Hell Sweep that leads to a higher damage combo than the regular one. It is also considerably safer than the normal Hell Sweep at -14 on block. While this seems incredibly strong, because it kind of is, it is still incredibly risky, as it is equally as predictable as the normal Hell Sweep, and even though -14 might seem quite low risk compared to the normal Hell Sweep, which is launch punishable, it's also important to note that you need low health to gain access to the Rage Drive in the first place, and most characters have very decent punishers by -14, while some can even launch you for it. Thus, you'll likely lose the round if this gets blocked, making this still an extremely risky option anyways. Regardless, it is still an unseeable low launcher that can have decent payoff in the clutch. While Devil Jin can be considered the most well-rounded of the Mishimas, it also means he doesn't really have any standout strengths. He doesn't have the disgusting Okizemi and 50-50 of Kazuya, nor does he have as good of a poking game as Heihachi. He is the only Mishima to have been consecutively nerfed over the 3 seasons, while the other ones have been buffed. While he excels in poking and to a lesser extent a 50-50 mix-up game, he has considerably lower combo damage than the rest of the cast, and doesn't have any good panic or plus frame moves. He does, however, have extremely good Okizeme that can be quite devastating if applied correctly. Devil Jin is very fundamentals based, meaning that there's unfortunately no real easy way to play him due to his high executional demand as well as lack of gimmicks. His electric is his core move for with punishment, keep out, and momentum building. Up forward 4, forward 2, and back 4 are his primary mid checks, while down 4, down 3, and down back 2 are his low pokes to chip at the opponent. He also relies a lot on movement and spacing to set up his major offense, due to his lack of pressure moves and fairly unexceptional range. Out of Devil Jin's wave dash mix-up, he has a few key options to pressure the opponent. While both the EWGF and Hell Sweep are very strong options, they can both be avoided with movement to the left, as well as crouching. To counter this, forward 2 is a simple and easy option to beat sidestep left, though do note that it can still be sidewalked anyway. The most rewarding mid option would be to do an instant while standing 2, though this also takes the most execution. This will beat sidestep and sidewalk left, and being a mid, it naturally hits crouches. However, this also carries a risk, as it is unsafe on block and -12. Thus, what you choose to do out of a wave dash is completely based on what you think your opponent's tendencies are, as well as how much you're willing to gamble for your reward, as some options are riskier than others. Devil Jin might be the easiest Mishima to pick up, but he is still equally as hard to master. He has to work hard to get major damage in, and depends very heavily on the player's fundamentals to play well at a high level. Thus, for new players picking him up for the first time, be prepared to spend a lot of time and dedication, for he is one of the most advanced characters on the roster. Thank you for watching this video guide on Devil Jin. If you enjoyed, please do like and subscribe, as it would greatly help out the channel. I have also done a full Season 3 guide on Dragunov and Noctis, so please do check those out if you are interested. Please also follow my Twitch, as I do sometimes stream, my Twitter, as I post most updates there, and finally, don't forget to join the Discord server, as that's where I can easily interact with you guys. Thanks once again for watching, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Take care.